Welcome to the Joy Work Show, the podcast that goes beyond the surface of business, right to the heart, to explore the real joy and the stories behind success. Not just the moments of celebration, but the challenges that paved the way for them. Hiya, I'm Diane, and here we know that joy isn't just about the good times. Often the greatest joy can come right after the greatest challenge. And today we are stepping into leadership properly, because I want to challenge something I hear all the time, and something for the first 18 months in my business, I was sick and tired of hearing myself say, I just don't have the time. Time is blamed for everything. Missed opportunities, half-finished projects, stalled growth. And the reason I wanted to specifically do it at this week in February is because January can be filled with newness and that excitement and plans and buzzing and ideas. And then all of a sudden February can come and it can feel a little bit hard, and maybe plans didn't go to plan, and maybe life get in the way, and maybe things happen, and all of a sudden this time excuse starts to creep in. And I've noticed it over the years with coaching and my business and myself, most people don't have a time problem. They have a standards problem. So let's get into that a little bit. Now, say when we say we do not have time, what we often mean and don't want to say is, I have not made this important enough. I have not protected my time and space for it. I have not decided that this actually matters. And the reason we don't say it is because that feels uncomfortable, because time feels external, like it's something that we can't control. Where standards and putting things in place is internal. Time feels like circumstance, standards are leadership. And yes, we all have the same 24 hours in the day, is what they say, but we all know that isn't quite true. But we do know what 24 hours we have. And when we set the standards, we are leading ourselves in that time. And as I said to you, I've seen it in myself. There were things I said that mattered. The visibility, the growth, the building something sustainable, the making connections, the collaborations. But when my calendar got tight, the first excuse I used was I don't have enough time. Don't you know I've got 2 young children? Don't you know I have a chronic illness? Don't you know I'm trying to build business? And the things that always moved first were the brave things, the things that stretched me, the things that took me out of my comfort zone. And the reason that they moved wasn't because I didn't have time. I was choosing to put other things in them, but because I hadn't raised my standards high enough to protect them and do the hard things rather than the other things I was filling my time with. And do I really want to admit that to you today? Probably not, but it is the truth. And I know there'll be people listening to it who are doing exactly the same. And it's to remind myself to not do it again too. So what are standards? When I talk about standards, what are they? They're not goals. Goals say, I would love to hit this. I would love to accomplish it. Standards say, this is who I am now. This is my bare minimum. This is what I expect. A goal is aspirational. A standard is a non-negotiable. For example, a goal says, I want to post consistently. A standard says, I am someone who shows up. A goal says, I want higher paying clients. A standard says, I do not discount my expertise. Do you see that shift? Standards are identity-based, and identity drives the behaviour that you will take to achieve the goals and make more of your time. And where might you be leaking some standards? Let me gently call out a few. You say you want growth, but you allow distractions to eat the time that would build it. You say you want momentum, but you lower your output when motivation dips. You don't have processes in place. You don't have a flow that when motivation dips, you can still stay where you wanted to be. You say you want better clients, but you are tolerating misalignment because it feels safer. And none of that is a time problem. It is a standards gap. And this isn't judgment. As I've said to you, I have been there. And no doubt I will slope into it again and have to bring myself back, because it is awareness. Because once you see it, you can change it. And once you know it's a pattern, you can see it arising before it becomes a problem again. But how do we raise our standards without burning out? It's not about becoming rigid or militant. You know, I don't believe in businesses that can't be flexible. They have to be flexible for our lives. It is about deciding who you are. So let's think about a simple 3-step upgrade. Something you can do today. You know, I love to give you something you can do today. Pick one identity shift. Not 10, just one. For example, I am someone who finishes what I start. So all those ideas you have, all those things you want to do, you're committing that you will see them through to their final destination before you move on to something else. You won't flip-flop through the ideas, you will back them, and that way you're backing yourself. Number 2, define the behaviour. What does that look like weekly? Not emotionally, but practically. What are your bare minimums that are you going to do in the week? So when life throws curveballs, so when things happen, so when motivation dips, you know that that's your bare minimum. And if you hit that bare minimum, you will still move your business on. You will still hit those goals, and you've hit the standards that you want to hit on a weekly basis. And then number 3, protect it like it matters, because it does. If you time block something, put something in your diary, you have to treat it as importantly as you would meeting a client. You have to show up to that time that is going to grow your business, hit the goals you want to achieve, and give you the results that you've been saying that you want. Standards aren't loud, they are consistent. And consistency builds self-trust, and self-trust gives you the belief to keep moving. When I decided to treat this podcast as a standard instead of something I might like to do or maybe a hobby, everything changed. It stopped being, when I have time, I will do it. It became, this gets time. This is what's important. Did life still happen? Yes. Did I still have health curveballs? Absolutely. And I've been honest on here about last year's goal of how many I was going to do and why I didn't hit it. But I know I still got so much closer to it because I had the standard in place, because the standard remained. And that shift alone is why this show exists at the level that it does, and why I continue to do it, even when there is still curveballs thrown at me. Not because I had more time than anybody else, because I raised the standard and decided what mattered. But where is the joy connection in this? And this is the interesting bit, that raising your standards does not kill joy, does not make things boring. It actually protects it, because nothing drains joy faster than knowing you are capable of more and not backing yourself. Joy is not just playfulness, it is integrity, it is follow through, it is doing what you said you would do. It is building something you respect and that respects you. Let's pull this all together. And if you're going to take anything away with you today, take these 3 things. Number 1, that time is rarely the real problem. Standards are. Deciding what you're doing with your time and raising that standard. Number 2, goals inspire you, standards define you. Goals are aspirational. Goals are where you want to go. Standards are you setting your bare minimum of what you're going to do to get there. The extras will get you there faster, but the bare minimum of what your standard is to get you to where you want to go. And number 3, raise one standard this week. Think about the thing that you've really wanted to achieve and what has stopped you at achieving it. And then decide what your standard is for that and watch what changes. Leadership is not louder effort. It is cleaner expectations of yourself. And that is where momentum lives. Thank you for listening to the Joy Work Show. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. I hope it got you thinking about what your standards might actually be, and you can start putting them in place for yourself. I promise it will make a change. If you've enjoyed this episode and you would like to make sure that you don't miss another one, please subscribe to the podcast wherever you are watching or listening to us. It takes 2 seconds and it literally means the world to me. Once again, thank you for listening and spending time with me here today, and I'll see you next week.